Joined here today by one of the two joint team owners of Beowulf Racing, Andy Stone, who's also one of Britain's leading tuners of racing motorcycles. This year in the Beowulf camp, we're running the same bike, a Yamaha YZF R6, in two different championships, the European Superstock 600s and the British Supersport Cup. Andy, we've got the same bike running in two different series. What basically are the differences that we can have on the two machines?
Regards to European stock regulations, suspension-wise is identical to the British Supersport regulations and World Supersport regulations. Engine internally on the European Superstock, you can change head gaskets and ignition systems. On the Supersport bike, obviously you can use the ignition systems, camshafts can be changed, gearbox can be changed, gas float head, gaskets, and alternator on the end of the crank can be reduced in its weight. So primarily there is not really that much difference between a European stock bike and a British Supersport bike. And as we've proven this weekend how close our European Superstock bike in power is compared with the British Supersport bikes.
So really that kind of scuppers my next question, because I was going to ask what the power difference would be between the two machines and the two classes, but you're saying really they're both pretty much on a level playing field.
There's obviously a power difference, obviously because of what you're doing with the Supersport, the bolt-ons, but not such a gap that there was 5 years ago. The gap has obviously been brought down to keep racing very competitive and allow teams of ourselves that are small to be able to compete against the factory teams like Cartagena and putting the bikes out this year, Yamaha, etc. So yes, it makes racing closer and it's better for us little ones.
That's great, it makes it more exciting for everybody, that's what we want. Because this year, the British Superbike paddock is moving to Pirelli tyres, and of course that's what's been run in the World Superbike paddock for the last few years. Now, does this mean that they're both going to be an exact match for each other, or are there going to be differences between the two classes in the tyres regulations?
My understanding that the British actually run on Metzeler's and we actually run on Pirelli's in Europe. And I believe that there is a compound difference. What is brilliant about the British thing going into Pirelli's, it allows the big teams to see what quality riders we have in England. And the rides that are coming through now, the wildcard rides are going to be filled by the Brits when they come to the 2 rounds, which is great. It's good to see, and it's a door that needed to be reopened. It was closed quite firmly by SBK, in 2003.
Because of course we've got the mouth-watering prospect of Beowulf taking some wildcard rides this year in the World Supersport Series. Now, I know that the 2 rounds that you wanted to enter were Brands Hatch and Donington Park. Well, now with British Superbikes moving to Pirelli's, are the available spaces, do you think, going to be swamped for those 2 rounds? We're going to have to go somewhere else? Or are you still hopeful that we'll be able to put on a show at our 2 home competitions?
Yeah, obviously, the competition for those wildcard slots are going to be high. But we've made it quite clear that our intention in World Supersport, and we will only put that bike on that grid when the team is ready to be able to put a rider out there and to run up the front. It's not going to go on the grid at the back, and only when we are ready will we put that challenge forward.
And really my final 2 questions would just be the amount of workload that the team's taking on this year. I mean, last couple of seasons you've just run a 1-rider team. This year you're running 3 riders in 2 different classes, so I take it you're burning a bit of midnight oil back in the base in Somerset.
I think anybody who owns race teams and the engineers who work in the race teams, I think that's natural for us to do both ends of the camp. It's really no different in what we've been doing. Obviously I've been in the business for many years. What has been nice this year, and it's been brilliant in fact, naturally not to get involved with just in the work, just concentrate on your own goals. It has allowed us to spend more time on focusing and affecting the bikes that we were putting out, rather than worry about deadlines and customers we've got to have. So the change has been great. The challenge is really getting higher again, and our bikes are better than they've been before.
So it's all systems go for 2008?
All systems go 2008.